The man said goodbye to his wife as he set off on a 2-day journey. He was a driver and would not be available for 2 days. He would be traveling to the north that morning and returning in the evening of the next day. The kids bid their dad farewell as they prepared to go to school that morning. This was a normal ritual whenever he had a journey like this. He drove off as he stared into his mirrors and saw them waving goodbye until he couldn't see them anymore. He went to the office and picked up his boss and set off on his journey. Their 2 kids, Wemi and Lola, sadly prepared for school knowing their dad would not return that day, already feeling his absence as they were used to him always dropping them at school. Today would be different. Their mom took them to school and went to the market to get supplies for the house and her mini shop, which was right in front of their house. She returned from the market, prepared lunch, set up, and then opened her shop as she waited for the kids to return. While she was waiting, Pastor James called and informed her that she would be playing a role at the night vigil that same night, as the person who was meant to lead that role couldn't make it. She accepted to play the role, forgetting that her husband was not available that night and she couldn't leave the children alone. When he arrived, he called her to confirm that he had arrived safely and asked after the kids. That's when it struck her that she made a mistake accepting the pastor's request. Her husband told her to call the pastor and turn down his request. However, instead of turning the pastor's request down, she devised a plan to go to the church when it was 1 hour to the time she would be called upon to play a role. So, after dinner, she took the 2 kids into bed and prepared, just waiting for the alarm she had set to ring. At 12 midnight, her alarm rang out, and she quickly picked up her Bible, locked the kids in, and headed towards the church. She got there on time, exactly 30 minutes before the pastor called her up to the stage. She was on fire that night. The whole church felt it. It was a night that would not be forgotten. While she burnt with passion, doing what she termed the work of God, there was a brief power fluctuation at home, and her house went up in flames with the 2 kids in it. The neighbors did all they could, but could not pen the doors. Both kids were consumed while banging on the door, screaming for their mother and father. This was one of the worst tragedies I ever witnessed. And all of this could have been avoided by just one simple action. If she had listened to her husband, those 2 kids would still be alive.